Okay, welcome to Paddy News. It is official. Ian Huntley has been attacked in prison and he is now deceased. The Soham murderer Ian Huntley's died after a vicious attack inside the Monster Mansion, also known as HMP Frankland. There have been reports that his life support machine has been switched off. Apparently, he was brutally attacked in prison. He spent a lot of his time in the last years of his life in a constant flux between swaggering with arrogance and cowering away in fear, apparently. He was rushed to hospital last Thursday after a fellow inmate had hit him over the head with a metal pole and, from what I can gather, split his head into catastrophic injuries. He was first assumed after the first attack, and prison officers found him lying on the ground. Huntley sustained severe injuries in the prison attack, including skull fractures, brain damage, and a broken jaw. His grim final days were spent in a medically induced coma with a ventilator to help him breathe. His mother, Linda Richards, who snuck in to visit her dying son, apparently couldn't recognise Huntley after the attack.
An image of innocence. Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman in matching Manchester United shirts, taken hours before they went missing on a summer's afternoon in 2002, and used in appeals to find the 10-year-old friends. Their disappearance from Soham captivated a concerned nation. The search around the rural Cambridgeshire town was one of the most extensive in British history, and the discovery of the girls' bodies in a ditch after 13 days was a collective trauma. They had been murdered by Ian Huntley, a secondary school caretaker and boyfriend of their classroom assistant Maxine Carr. A cold and calculated killer who lured them into his home.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness.
But then claimed to be helping with the search.
Evening in.
But his readiness to speak to the media made police suspicious, particularly the detail given to Sky's Jeremy Thompson.
How did they seem to you?
They seemed fine, very cheerful, happy, chatty. I didn't see anything untoward, nobody hanging around. You know, just seemed like normal, happy kids.
Safe and well?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you may, as it turned out, have been the last person to actually chat to them before they vanished.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And it's a mystery.
Absolutely,
still
yeah.
unsolved.
Yeah, absolutely.
A report by Emma O'Neill from the Mirror says, given the nature and notoriety of his crimes, Huntley was never popular with his fellow inmates. He's up there with one of the most hated prisoners. He could have been anyone. The majority would attack him for the reputation, not because of what he has done. They will want to be the one that done Ian Huntley in, a source has told the Chronicle. The killer had a swagger inside prison. He was trying to be somebody, but he was also regularly trying to get his name into the public sphere inside the jail, they said. Another prison source previously described Huntley as an up and down person whose mood swings from extreme, acting the big man towards his fellow prisoners, one moment and then becoming incredibly moody. And whoever has killed him, people are going to say, yeah, well done, amazing, you've got Ian Huntley, you've unalived him. But the thing is, the people that are in the jail with Ian Huntley are going to be just as bad as him. They're going to be child harmers, and you can't even say half this stuff on YouTube. It's so stupid, you have to censor your words, but they're going to be the type of people that Ian Huntley was himself, if you know what I mean. So obviously, back around the time that these Soham murders took place, his girlfriend, Maxine Carr, was also involved. Even though she wasn't part of the crime, she did try and cover up for him, and at the time, she was their teacher.
I mean, everybody around here, I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of people, and what they're saying is, you know, while there's no news, then there's still that glimmer of hope.
The girls had left a family barbecue to buy sweets when they encountered the 28-year-old Huntley, who was convicted of abducting and murdering the girls after a high-profile trial at the Old Bailey in 2003. Serving a life sentence with a minimum term of 40 years, his notoriety followed him, being attacked in prison. It was an assault 9 days ago that eventually killed him. The murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman remains one of the most shocking and devastating cases in our nation's history.
She was, back then, the most hated woman probably in Britain at the time. Everybody will remember the picture of those schoolgirls with the red Man United shirts on. And the interview that Ian Huntley actually gave after the crimes have been committed, saying that he'd seen the girls walk off in that direction. We all remember that Sky News interview.
They had been murdered by Ian Huntley, a secondary school caretaker and boyfriend of their classroom assistant Maxine Carr. A cold and calculated killer who lured them into his home.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness.
But then claimed to be helping with the search.
Evening in.
But his readiness to speak to the media made police suspicious, particularly the detail given to Sky's Jeremy Thompson.
How did they seem to you?
Seemed fine, very cheerful, happy, chatty. I didn't see anything untoward, nobody hanging around. You know, just seemed like normal, happy kids.
Safe and well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you may, as it turned out, have been the last person to actually chat to them before they vanished.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And it's a mystery.
Absolutely,
still
yeah.
unsolved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody around here, I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of people, and what they're saying is, you know, while there's no news, then there's still that glimmer of hope.
Maxine Carr, she walked free from Foston Hall Prison in Derbyshire in 2004 with a new identity for her own protection. In 2011, reports emerged she'd welcomed her first child, a baby boy, within a secure location. That's nice for her because the families won't be able to celebrate their daughters. I doubt a lot of people will be mourning the death of Ian Huntley, but there was claims of asset abuse to other women years ago, and this was never brought up when he was brought. He was taken on as a caretaker for the school, believe it or not.
Huntley's crimes exposed a glaring weakness in vetting and child protection. He had previously been arrested on suspicion of targeting underage girls, but never charged before being hired by the school. Safeguarding rules were strengthened to prevent dangerous predators slipping through the net again.
Maxine Carr pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice, was found guilty of assisting an offender. She received a 3.5-year sentence. Huntley's conviction left the families of both the girls devastated, with their mothers breaking down in tears as the verdicts were read. Now they don't have to worry anymore.
His ashes should just be flushed down the toilet. Don't think he's worth a funeral. You know, funerals are for celebrating life, and his wasn't worth celebrating.
I don't think he deserves a resting place. An unmarked grave, yeah, or even just throw the ashes to the wind.
So that's the news. These segments are just a quick video from me from breaking news around the world and the UK. They're not full-length videos, so thank you to Destronic for sponsoring the video. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the mods. Remember, the news can be emotional and stressful, so most of all, don't have nightmares. Adi out.